What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Business Gamer, where we talk about games and business. Today, we're talking about something I just saw on the internet today, and I read on WhatCulture.com and saw the video. I'll link the video below. I'm sure they get enough views than me already. They don't need help with the views, but anyway, I'll do it if you haven't seen it. It's about the Batman games and where they're heading and the future for them. Now, for me, the Batman games have always been the best superhero games. I know people argue the Spider-Man games, but for me personally, the Batman games always tend to improve. I mean, Arkham City for me was a pinnacle of a comic book game. Everything about it was almost set in a comic book style, from the character design to the combat to the story itself. It had twists and turns, and the voice acting was pinnacle. I felt like with Arkham Knight they fell off. I felt like the Arkham character, they linked it too heavily to Jason Todd. There was no other guy going for it, and it became too obvious as well. For me, I wasn't a fan of Batmobile, because Batman, every time he had a problem, he could just call him Bat Tank, and it ruined aspects of the game. For example, traveling around the city, as well as boss battles and other areas like that. But I think there's room for improvement in those games. Of course, they're re-releasing the Batman Arkham collection. I don't know really why. I don't know why they're doing it again. But hey, maybe from a business point of view, they really want to, reach into the deep pockets of the utility belt and, get all of that Wayne Tech money. I don't mind, to be honest. I'm a big fan of all Batman games equally. I think everyone's got their favourite. For me, still, it's a generic answer, Arkham City. Arkham City remains the best because, like I said before, everything about it was great. But for me, I'm reading a lot of reports about a new game coming up and, the future of the franchise and where it's heading. For me, personally, I want a game going forward. When everyone talks about Rocksteady and their future plans, or whichever developer's going to take it, maybe Montreal, I think they might have another go because obviously they didn't do well with Batman Arkham Origins. I mean, for everyone, I feel like that's the outlier of the Batman games. Wasn't great or bad, it was just there. It was like a side dish of chips. It didn't really do anything special, but it did its purpose compared to the others who made an impact and were great games to play. I really want Batman to go forward. I know there's a lot of talks about prequels, and a lot of people say, for instance, but Business Gamer, how can you talk about that when at the end of Arkham Knight, Batman makes Operation Nightfall happen, so he's out of it, destroys Wayne Manor, and probably retires, and gives up the Cape Crusader stuff and just goes in retirements with Alfred. I don't know, maybe they're playing tennis maybe they can make a tennis simulator, you never know, where you just play Alfred Pennyworth, and I bet there'll be 10 fans that'll buy that game. I would. But yeah, anyway, I really want the game to go forward. I don't really want prequel stuff. I feel like prequel stuff doesn't work. It doesn't make much sense in terms of a narrative and gameplay point of view. Batman can use stuff such as gadgets that he didn't have in future games, or he can do combo moves he can't do in games like in Batman Arkham Knight, for example. In Origins, you could use different gadgets, and in Arkham Knight they weren't there. For me, that seemed a bit stupid because it kind of felt like Batman just forgot about the moves he could do, or the gadgets he had that could really be helpful in the game. But that's just my opinion. But I really, really, really want someone else to take the Cavill. I would love if they did Batman Beyond. I'd love it if they did something like that, a story where Bruce Wayne passes on the bat symbol to someone else, maybe Dick Grayson or someone like that. I mean, for instance, my most fun about the game was the difference in gameplay. I loved playing as characters like Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and people like that, and I would really love it if they did something like that again. But I think it'll be hard because no one would buy a Nightwing game or a Robin game, because Batman, is the main guy. But I feel like they could do more stuff with that. I would love a GTA 5 concept, and here's what I mean. Now, it could just be me here. I might get a lot of hate for this, but I would love it if you played as Robin, Batman, and Nightwing, almost like, for example, Trevor, Michael, and Franklin. Completely different, obviously, because you're playing as superheroes, but like three interwoven stories where you do different missions as them, you explore the city as them, and you do other stuff, whether it's in Gotham, Bloodhaven, or even Metropolis if you want to, and explore it, build something different, build a bigger threat, because for me, Batman Arkham Knight, you were against an army, let's face it, and they did that, so it made sense with the Bat Tank or Batmobile or whatever you want to call it. But it didn't feel like a bigger threat. It felt like it was just a bunch of goons with tanks. It didn't feel like, oh my gosh, Batman's the odds are against him, because I don't know, the other characters. For example, you did those missions taking down Penguin with Dick Grayson, but it didn't feel good, because he was only in the game for a bit. Robin turns up and you lock him away. It'd be really cool if you had the whole Bat family working together to try and take something down. I'd really enjoy that. But like I said, I bet a lot of people are going to say I'm contradicting myself here. But prequel, sorry, could work. But I'm saying but a lot this video. I want it not to be like Arkham Origins. I want him to get on with the police. I want him to be in like 5 or 6 years into Batman. He's working up his status. Is something else. I really, really as well want him to focus on different villains that don't get the same limelight as Joker, Two-Face. I thought how they did Hush in Arkham City was so good. Hush was such an interesting character, and they kind of ruined it when in Arkham Knight he's a cutscene fight. It's not like he had a big plan, and it'd be great if he was one of the main villains. Black Mask, I think, deserved way more credit. I would love to see more of him. But yeah, just there's so much they can do with the game. I'm gonna be honest, get rid of the Batmobile. I know fans have been asking for it, but when we get it, let's be real. It felt like a kid on Christmas Day who got like a present they really wanted, and then they played with it, and it was just a bit boring, or it wasn't good, because I don't know if they can reuse it in different segments. For example, if you just drive around, I think that's the new rumor about Montreal's game, apparently, because I think they're making a new one. It's just going to be moved for transport. However, I think it's going to be boring once you're on fast travel, and if the city is hopefully more densely populated. I felt as it was sparse, it wasn't great, because you could just amble around with no consequences. I would love it if there was like a dense city, so when you're driving you gotta be more careful not to hit civilians and stuff like that, because then that'll make the Batmobile more fun. If you're just driving in an empty car park almost of a map, it's not going to be great. It's going to be boring, it's going to be bland, it's going to be blah. So they need to really work on that. Go back to basics as well. I felt like the combat of Batman, I know he's got a power of never give up, but I feel like he had another pair of superhero steroids. Like he went into the Marvel universe and borrowed whatever they pumped Captain America with, because he was so invincible later on in the games. It crept in Arkham City, but in Arkham Knight, it's through the roof. He's just throwing people around, which is good, but it made combat a bit too easy, and I would love it if they made combat a bit harder. Different enemy types is a given, so it'd be interesting. This is just my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys say about it. Please subscribe, share, and comment, and let's get a debate going. Thank you.